Hello, hello! Welcome to the Maren and I podcast. If you're new here, I'm Moanna. I am a 16-year-old girl with a lot to say and a lot more to learn. Today, we have my friend Maren Hill, joining us. Maren's going to introduce herself.
Hi guys, I'm Maren. I'm also 16, and Moanna's a very good friend of mine, and I'm so happy to be on here today.
So, we are doing fall TBRs today. I did an episode with a teen author for summer TBRs, and so I want to make this a series and do fall TBRs. But first, we always start with gratitude. And today, my grateful is my little sister Everest. She's 5. She just started kindergarten, and she's crazy. But she's my grateful this week because last night we had a little sister sleepover, and she spent the night in my room for fun. And we baked cookies and everything, and she loved it. She's been so mean to me recently, I swear. She is obsessed with my brother, and they both play Roblox together and love dinosaurs and all these things. So I was finally able to get her to like me a little bit more last night, and we had cookies and I watched Barbie with her in my room. But she loved it, and she woke me up this morning at 7 a.m. and was like, Mo, thank you. I had so much fun. And I was like, you're welcome. I'm going to go back to sleep. But that is my grateful, is Evie. And Maren, what's your grateful?
So sweet. My gratefuls at the moment are my pets. So I have 3. I have 2 dogs, one named Charlie and one named Lucy. And then I have a cat named Chance. And they're just my loves. I love them so much. School gets hard, life gets hard, we all know about that. But they're just great to snuggle up with, and they make me so happy, and they always make my day better. And so I've really become very grateful for them, especially because my cat is very old. So, I've been spending a lot more time with him lately, and it's just, I just love them. They're so fun.
I love that. We have our snake Ghost that I talk about him every once in a while on the podcast, but we got him out for the first time in a while the other day, and I don't know why, but him and I were just vibing together, and I did not want to put him up. We were actually hanging out, and he was playing and crawling. And then my brother has a kitten, Ozzy, which I post him on the podcast story actually pretty often. I think it's on the podcast. It might be on my personal, but he's so cute, and he's a ragdoll kitten, and he's got big blue eyes.
Oh.
But he's also really annoying, but I love him. So.
That's so funny. My dog, Charlie, he's a whippet, so he's very, very skinny. He's in the greyhound family, I think, but he's very, very skinny. So in the fall and the winter, we have to put him in these little turtleneck jackets. It's so cold, and it's the funniest thing. I love it. It's, he just gets so, because they have no body fat, so he just has on these little jackets. So it's so funny. I love it.
That's funny. I love that. And then our newest segment that I started doing, water break. So everybody grab your water.
Got
Y'all
my water.
know the drill. Get your water. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Got it.
So that's your reminder to drink water because I'm never hydrated. So
yes, stay hydrated.
That's our water break. Drink your water. And then currently lovings. My currently loving is Lana Del Rey again.
Yes.
I've used her multiple times, I think, but she just started her tour, and I wanted to go see her in Nashville so bad, and I'm trying to convince my parents to take me to the Alabama show. That's this weekend, because my aunt lives in Alabama, and I want to go so bad.
Me too. Oh my gosh.
I want to go so bad. And tickets, aren't wildly expensive. It's not like Taylor Swift prices.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm I want to go so bad. But I love her, and I don't know. She's just so good. I've been listening to so much NFR recently, and I just love her so much. So she's my currently loving again.
Oh my gosh. We're getting into ultraviolet season too, I feel like. That's my
yes.
fall winter. I love her so much. She's so good.
She's so good.
And then my currently loving, along those lines of music, Olivia Rodrigo's new album, Guts. All I've listened to for the past 2 to 3 weeks. I I love her music. I wasn't the biggest fan of her first album, Sour. This Something About Guts, I don't know, it's just really, like, reached to me, and it's, like, she's just so relatable, like, the things that she sings about, and I just love it. It's all I've listened to for the past couple of weeks. My personal favorite is probably Ballad of a Homeschool Girl, because that one's probably the most relatable, and I loved it. So that's my currently loving. Yeah.
I love that. I was listening. Well, okay, I was never like a big fan of hers at all. Like I like her stuff, but I wasn't like
That was me too.
obsessed when like she became popular.
Yeah.
And like literally that same song, Ballad of a Homeschool Girl, I saw that title and was like, I need to listen to this because
Yes.
I'm a homeschool girl now. And I was like, I need to listen to it. And I still haven't gotten a chance to listen to the full song like on my own. I was gonna do it earlier, and then I was doing school, and I was like, I need to like focus. So I still like need to actually listen to it, but I'm excited.
Yeah, it's so good. All my friends who are homeschooled, they're all like, because I have a couple that are, and they were like, this song was made for me, and it was just so funny to me. I'm so glad she like catered a song or like devoted a song to like that specific group of people who are homeschooled, because I feel like you guys deserve it. Like you guys,
I love it.
I know.
I'm excited to like actually sit down and listen to it.
It's so good. No regrets. You'll love it.
I'm so excited. And then it's time to get in the bulk of the episode. So I want to start off these TBR episodes with like what you last read and like what you read in the previous season based off your last TBR. And I read literally nothing. I think I gave like 5 different books the last episode I did this, and I didn't read a single one over the summer at all. I tried. I tried a little bit, not a lot. But yeah, I read nothing. So
that's okay.
That's where I'm at. What did you read over the summer, Maren?
Okay, over the summer, I read 2 books. The first one that I read is kind of ironic because it takes place in the fall, but I read November 9th by Colleen Hoover. And it was really cute. Colleen Hoover books, they're known to be very, like, romantic and a cute little just thing to cuddle up with and just read when, you want to, romanticize stuff. And I have no shame in it because it was a really good book. So I read that one. Definitely recommend. Super cute, super good plot twists and turns. It's great. And then the second one that I read was a book called Eat, Pray, Love, which is also based off a very popular movie. I completely recommend it, both the movie and the book. Also another love book. If you guys couldn't tell, I have a little bit of a trend during the summer. But it was very cute. And it wasn't just cute about love. It was like very like this girl like got to know herself, and she because she was going through a divorce, and she got to like regain this sense of herself, and she grew and she traveled to all these places around the world. So it's a very good book, not just centered around love, but also around loving yourself. So I really love that one and recommend it. It's great.
I love that. I am not a romance girly, like, at all. Like,
yeah,
I need, like, a full, like, story plot line that isn't related to it, and, like, the romance can be, like, the subplot, but I feel like if I was going to read a romance, it would be, like, during the summer.
Yeah, it's, like, a good time. I don't know, it's just because you're kind of, I don't know how to explain it. You're kind of already in that mood, I feel like.
Yeah, like, it just is, like, a feeling.
It's just, like, it's, like, summer is kind of like the season of love, I feel like. That's just how I see it, at least. I see it as very, like, carefree and, like, it's warm, so you kind of get, like, that nice, like, feeling. I don't know. I always read my romances during the summer, and then, like, all my, like, horror books and, like, mysteries and, all that stuff in, like, the fall and the winter. Because I feel like it just matches the season better. I don't know.
It just fits, like, so perfectly.
It does, yes.
And then the last thing I read was Killjoy. I think it's, like, one of the shortest books I've ever read.
Oh my gosh.
It's a novella by Holly Jackson for the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, which I love, and I'm going to talk about those later. But it was good. It was cute. It's, like, a fun read because, like, once you've already read, like, the first 3 books, it's, like, fun to go back. It's a prequel, and it's really cute, and, like, once you know all the characters from the actual series, it's, like, really fun to read this because they're, like, it's before anything happened, so, like, they are just, like, unsuspecting, they don't know what's coming, and it's like, oh, this is really cute, you have no idea what's gonna happen to you in a couple months. But it was really good. I didn't realize how short it was until I like until I finished it, honestly, because like the back half of the book was like the first few chapters of the first book in the actual series, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I guess it's over. But that was the last thing I read.
That's awesome. I've been wanting to read that so much, so I will definitely look at that. The last book that I read was actually a book I had to read for my AP Lang class. It's called Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. And when I say this is one of the best books about like political and criminology I've ever read in my whole life, it was so it gave me so much insight into like our issues in today's society. So basically, it's a book written by a lawyer, a criminal justice lawyer, who basically wrote about like wrongful imprisonments and wrongful prison executions, especially with the death penalty. And it just gave so much insight into like how redemption can be earned, and how, you know, you have to give a second chance to people. And it also tied into like how racism affects America. It was very hard to read some parts of it, I will give that, you know, but it was super enlightening, and it gave so much insight into just how corrupt certain parts of our society can be. So I definitely recommend it. It's so good and definitely worth your time.
I love that. I'm gonna put that on my list because like
Yes.
it just like sounds like something like I need to read it. You know what I
It,
mean?
people need to learn, like, people need to hear about these issues, because I feel like, you know, because
Right.
when your teacher assigns a book, you're kind of like, ugh. But, you know, this one was seriously one of the best. Like, my dad's a lawyer, so, you know, I kind of hear about these things, like, different, you know, things concerning, obviously, law. But I
Mm-hmm.
never really saw it or, like, heard of it from another perspective, from another lawyer's perspective, especially with someone who handles something as, like, large scale as this,
Right.
as serious as this. So it was very sad, because it gave a lot of firsthand accounts of like people who had to deal with these things. But it was so it just makes you think a lot more. It made you think about, you know, how you treat people, how you view people, and not to ever judge anybody at first glance. Like, you always just look into things fully before you make a decision. So I thought, again, very good book.
That it sounds like it's really good, and it's like
It was very good.
it's like not entertaining in the sense that like, oh, this is fun to read, but entertaining in the sense that like you're
Yeah.
gonna want to go in deep and like educate yourself.
Yeah, it was very educational in like the best way. Again, very hard topics that were brought up, but it's like, we have to know this stuff. Like,
Yeah,
it's important that we know it. So,
I totally agree with that.
yes.
Okay, so now that we've gotten our past reads, it's time to get into what's to come and our fall TBRs. And I'm gonna start off. Whoa! I'm gonna start us off with my first book on my fall TBR, and it's Five Survive by Holly Jackson. Um, I've said it a million times on the podcast already, but I love her. I love her books, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, one of my favorite books, and I think it's because of Pip, the main character. I think I just relate to her so much. I had an old family friend. She is she's like 18-ish. We danced together when we were little. She has a little brother who I was really good friends with when we were little. They moved away, but like we reconnected a little bit on Instagram, and she told me that like I remind her so much of Pip, and like how my podcast is set up, and like my colors are red and black and white, and she's like,
Yeah.
you're exactly how I imagine her. And I was like, and she was like, you have to read this book because you're like just like her. And I'm like, that is the best compliment I've ever gotten. I know exactly what you're talking about. And like I just relate to her so much. We're so similar. And then like her love interest, Robbie, I love him with all of my heart. I need my own Robbie. He's so perfect. He's such like an underrated book boyfriend, I swear.
Oh my
But
god.
I'm excited for Five Survive. I have high hopes. We'll see if it lives up to my expectations, especially because the show for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is coming out at some point.
Seriously?
Yes, I'm so
Oh my
excited.
gosh.
They just announced a couple months ago that, I don't know if you watched the show Wednesday.
Yes, I love that show.
The girl who plays the blonde werewolf,
Oh yeah.
Emma Myers, is gonna play Pip, the main character. So I'm
Oh my
really
god.
excited for that.
That's so cool.
But yeah, that's my first fall TBR book.
Awesome. I'll have to keep that one in mind. I've always wanted to get to that one. I saw that one on someone else's TBR, and I'm like, I need to get to this. So, okay. So my next fall TBR is, or my first actually, sorry, is Persuasion by Jane Austen. So this is a classic, obviously. Jane Austen is a huge acclaimed author, especially like among women in this time period. Yeah, so basically, I mean, I've read a lot of her other books. I've read, obviously, Little Women, which is one of my favorite books of all time. It's so great. The movies are great for it as well.
I love those movies.
Oh my gosh, Little Women has a special place in my heart. I just love her.
I watch that movie like 80 times a year.
It's so good. Oh my gosh, I love that movie, Moanna. It's so good. But yeah, so just a lot of her other stories too. Emma, Sense and Sensibility. They're really. I think they're also really good books that also have a lot of, back to like Just Mercy. They have a lot of different like things that they bring up that are really relevant to today as well. So I have heard that Persuasion is one of her really, really good books, and it takes place in the fall. A lot of it does. So I figured that would be a really good option, and I just want to knock another Jane Austen off my list. And I've actually for my birthday not my birthday, Christmas last year, I got a really big Jane Austen book that's like I know you can't see it right now, but it's huge. It's like the size of my hand. It's really
wow.
big. Like not the book, but like the amount of pages. It has like 600 to 700 pages. It's a lot. But it's all her little stories, like all put together. So I actually already have all the books. So I need to read that. But anyways, I'm rambling. But yes, really good one. Recommend it. I'm going to make sure I read that.
I'm gonna add that to my list too. I read my first Jane Austen book last year for school, Pride and Prejudice. And
Yes.
I had never really like been interested in reading her stuff because when I was younger, like elementary school, I read like old lady stuff, I guess. Like I read a lot of like historical fiction and classics when I was younger. So like now that I'm older, I'm kind of like tired of it, but like I'm so glad I had to read that because it was really good. And it like really is like a true classic, and I just watched the movie a few weeks ago for the first time too. So Jane Austen. We love her.
We do love her.
My second TBR book is One of Us Is Next by Karen M. McManus. She wrote, this is the sequel to her book One of Us Is Lying. There's also a show for that, which I never finished. The book's really good. I like that it's a multiple point of view kind of book, and I'm not like super pumped to read this, but I want to read it because like I feel like I need to know more about these characters because I read her first book like a few years ago, and I really want to like close it out, and I got the book for my birthday, so I'm going to read it and push through even though I'm not super excited for it, but I want to read it and like get it over with.
Yeah, cuz you got to know more. It's so important.
Yeah.
Okay, my next TBR, which I'm so excited about because it's one of my favorite movies, it's called The Dead Poets Society by N.H. Kleinbaum. So this is also, one thing you also have to know about me, this may be unoriginal, I know, but I love reading books that also have movies with them. Like half the ones that I'm going to say do have movies with them, including Persuasion by Jane Austen. But this is one of my favorite movies. It takes place also in the fall, which I thought was very fitting. And it's about about these boys that go to a prep school. So it's kind of like the dark, I don't know if you guys have heard of like the dark academia aesthetic. But like, it takes place in like a prep school. And it's basically, again, they're kind of like brain dead by like having so many bad teachers. But there's this really good teacher that comes along, who's played by Robin Williams. I love him so much, in the movie. But, and he kind of just like reinvigorates like the way that they learn, and he makes them enjoy life so much more. And it's a great book. It takes place in the fall. It has, all the fall vibes, you know what we're here for. But yes, I'm super excited to read it. I've seen the movie, but I really, really want to get to the book. So that is definitely very high on my list and very excited.
I have had this movie on my list forever, and I still haven't read it because I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Obviously I want to wait till the fall to watch it. And so now it's finally fall, and I'm like, I need to watch this movie. I'm really excited. I want to read this book too. I feel like I need to read the book before I watch the movie though, because like it always ruins it for me if I watch the movie before I read the book.
and I'm not going to spoil anything, but just be prepared. It is very, very sad at some parts.
Oh boy.
You are going to read this. Just there's a couple of, like, I mean, they're not huge trigger warnings, but there are, like, you know, there's mentions of, like, well, obviously it is bigger. It has, like, mentions of suicide in it, so just to let you guys know, that's kind of a trigger warning. So I just want to let you know before you read it, if that's something that you want to know about. But it's a very good book, and it's again, mature at some parts, but it's definitely worth your time. Super good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I didn't watch I didn't read The Summer I Turned Pretty before I watched the show.
Oh
Which,
my god.
okay, that show, I can't decide if I love or hate it because it's so like
Same.
it's so embarrassing to watch, but also it's like good.
Stop. When Conrad started singing at the funeral, I felt so bad. But when he started singing at the funeral, I was like, oh my god. I had to turn the TV off. I couldn't do it. Oh, that
But
sounds
I
so.
refuse to read the books because I've already watched the show and I'm like, if this show was this embarrassing, like there's no way I'm going to be able to get through these books.
No, the books are always worse too. Like with the descriptions and stuff, they're always going to be 10 times worse.
Right. Secondhand embarrassment is going to be so much stronger.
Oh, I know.
And my third fall TBR is The Ivies by Alexa Donne. I read this in summer 2022 while we were traveling. I think that was the only book I read in 2022 when we were on our RV trip. But I read it in like 2 days, and it's a very fun like YA mystery. It's very fall appropriate. There's like I think there's 4 girls, and they all go to like a private high school in New England somewhere, and they each are assigned by like their head popular mean girl type situation, like cliche, like girl leader, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They're each assigned like an Ivy League school to get into, and
That's
like they get their acceptance letters, and one of the girls gets into like the main girl's school, and the next day she's found dead on campus.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like about like them trying to figure out like who killed her and why and what happened. It's really good. I read the whole thing in like 2 days, so I'm excited to reread it in the fall and take my time with it a little bit more and enjoy it.
That's awesome. I feel like New England, in general, is just such like a hot spot for, not a hot spot, but just like it's such like an ideal place for fall. Like every time I think of fall, I think of like leaves in like New England. I just think of like Boston or New York or all those places. So I love books that take place there, like especially during
me too.
fall and the winter. I think it's just so suited for it.
It was like a dream come true for me to get to spend fall in New England when we were on our RV trip. I love New Hampshire. It's probably one of my favorite like fall-ish places. Yes. I drank so much apple cider up there, and we got to do like apple picking and covered bridges and like all the pretty leaves, and I loved it so much.
I know. Well, my grandparents used to live in Vermont. In Vermont, there's not many people there. It's mainly just cows. But
yeah,
my grandparents got retired there. But I used to go up to Vermont all the time during like October and November, and it was like the color of the leaves, like the scenery around you did not even look real. It was so pretty. Oh, I loved it. Okay,
gorgeous.
Yeah, it was so pretty. Okay, so my next TBR is a book called If We Were Villains by M.L Rio. So this has been a book that's been very popular, especially around like, it's been like in the front of the store at Barnes & Noble for like an entire year now, but it's rightfully so because I'm kind of like a quarter through reading it. Like I've just kind of started it, but it's super good. Another super good book suited for the fall. It also is kind of similar to actually, it's kind of similar to the Ivies in Dead Poet Society because it also takes place in a school in New England, actually. But it's involved with like a murder, so it's actually very, very similar to a lot of those books we already talked about. But it's super good. I think the best thing about it is that it's so well written. Like M.L Rio takes so much precision in the way that he writes this book, which I really appreciate because it kind of like. It just makes it so much more enjoyable for the reader. But it's super good. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm super excited to finish it. And so far, I have no complaints. I'm not going to spoil it for any of you because, nobody wants that. But it's super good so far, and definitely very high up on my list as well.
That's fun. I always get nervous to like read like front book talk table of Barnes and Noble because I'm
Yeah,
like, everybody says this is really good, so I'm gonna read it. But then if it's bad, I'm so disappointed
I
because I was
know,
like,
me
I
too.
really wanted this to be good and I really wanted to be able to enjoy it, and it just did not work.
Yeah, I mean, that was me, like, with a lot of the books, like, that they had. Like, especially with, like, what's that one Colleen Hoover book called? It's, like, super popular. I forget what it's called.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's got
Oh,
like the cover that like I just associate her name with this book cover. Um,
yes. It's, oh, yeah, it ends with us, and it starts with
it
us.
ends with us.
I was
Yes.
so disappointed with that book. I think it's because I overhyped it up in my head, and I got to
Right.
reading it, and I was like, this really, November 9th was so much better, in my opinion. But, it's fine. And another thing I wanted to add, if you're into, like, that kind of, like, New England, fall, murder mystery, that whole thing, another one I would definitely recommend, it's kind of off topic, I'm so sorry. Another one I'd recommend that I finished reading, like, a year ago is also called The Secret History by Donna Tartt. It's super good.
I've heard of this.
It's so good. It's like the top like dark academia book. Like whenever you look up or like you kind of like go on Pinterest or whatever and you look up, you'll always see something associated with that book, and rightfully so because it's super good, super well written, and I definitely recommend it as well. Super good.
I've seen so much about that, and I just like it. Just like I guess it's like kind of popped up on my radar, but not like enough to like make it on a list. So I need
Yeah,
to like go put it on my Goodreads list.
it's also pretty mature as well. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's a little bit mature as well. Just like again, the same kind of like it's like has a little bit of violence in it, but it's super good. Like it's super well written, and I feel like some of the best books, unfortunately, do have some mentions of things like that in it. But
Right.
all up for the reader to decide. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's important that everybody remembers like do your research before reading stuff
Yes,
because you
for
want to
sure.
make sure that it's like something that you're ready for.
Yes, for sure.
My what are we on number 4?
Think
I
so.
think yeah, number 4. My fourth book is okay. I'm gonna say this wrong. I am so sorry. I cannot. Everybody knows I can't pronounce names, so it's called Tituba is how I want to say it, but I feel like that's wrong. I like my family makes fun of me because I will just put letters and words wherever I want, whenever I want. But it's called Tituba, Black Witch of Salem. It is about the Black Witch of Salem from the Salem witch trials. It's by I'm gonna mess up the author's name too. Maryse Conde, maybe.
You got it.
Condo. I don't know. Something along those lines. My mom recommended it to me. She got it when we were in Salem last October, which like like you said earlier, Massachusetts, Boston, Salem area,
Yes. Oh my
so
God.
good for the fall.
I've
So
always
good.
wanted to go to Salem in the fall. That's a
I
good dream.
will say, Salem is a little bit overhyped.
Really?
It's
Oh my gosh.
so touristy.
Oh, I had
Um,
that, especially during that time.
right. But it was still really cool and really fun. But she got this book when she was there. She read it. She loved it. I don't know much about it other than like the title and the author, but I'm excited to read it because I feel like it's going to be a very good like late
Yes.
October read.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, my next TBR is also, again, surprise, surprise, a very popular movie. And it's called Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. And this is your classic, like, super mysterious, like, girl goes missing, but it has a huge plot twist. Huge plot twist, which I'm not going to reveal because that plot twist was one of the best things that have ever been revealed to me in my life when looking at, like, a movie and a book. It is so great, and it's so well written, but it's well written in like a way. It's not super like poetic or like super literate, like literature and like big words. It's very well written in a way that's like it's like someone's talking to you. Like it's very like how do I put it? Like present day. Like it's really really good. Definitely recommend the movie as well. It's super great, great acting, great storyline. But it's very good. I feel like for the season too because I don't know if it takes place in the fall, but it just gives off those kind of that same kind of vibe and super.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a good one. I feel like it always helps when like like, obviously a book needs good characters and a good plot, but when it's
Yeah,
well written, it makes, like, such a difference.
such a difference. And Gillian Flynn is an amazing mystery writer. If you want any like good like if you want like a really crisp, well-written mystery book, I recommend Gillian Flynn because she puts so much detail and so much great like thinking into the way that she structures her books. And the topics that she writes about are so they're almost like a little bit disturbing. Again, another, because I'm kind of into like thrillers, but if like I'm going to read a thriller, it needs to be really thrillery. Like it needs to be like
Right.
all the stuff needs to be there. Um, so she's super good. If you want like a good mystery writer, Gillian Flynn is your girl.
Yeah, I like a good mystery. I like that you said, like, it has a really good twist.
Yeah.
Okay, I have definitely done this when I read If We Were Liars. I think I read this when I was, like 12 or 13 when I first read this book.
Yeah.
When, like, the plot, like, the plot twist was revealed, I just started bawling my eyes out. Like, that's how, like, taken aback I was because I was just,
Yeah.
like, so shocked.
Yeah. This plot twist, I wouldn't say it like makes you bawl. Your mouth will be hanging open though, because you will be like it will just be so unexpected. That's why it's so important that you don't spoil it. So, and it's also a very popular movie. So if you don't look up, and if you're gonna read this, don't look up anything about the movie. I know it's tempting. Don't look up anything about the plot. Just read the book all the way through, and I guarantee you, it will literally be one of the best plot twists you've ever read in your life. And then watching the movie, like even more so, probably.
Yeah.
Like it was so surprising, like in a good way. But
Right.
again, I'm not gonna reveal too much, but great book.
And then my final book on my TBR for this fall is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by the wonderful Suzanna Collins. She is the author of The Hunger Games.
Love her.
And this movie, they're coming out with like the next Hunger Games movie, but it's not like actually the Hunger Games. It's for this prequel. It's coming out in November. I'm super excited.
That's
When
so
I
much.
first read The Hunger Games, I read all the books and watched all the movies within a week.
Oh my gosh.
I think
Wow.
for the first book, I stayed up till 5 a.m. to read it. And was super grumpy and exhausted because I had to wake up at like 6 or 7 in the morning. So I got like
Oh my gosh.
2 whole hours of sleep. But it was totally worth it because those books are so good. I'm a little bit sad because like it's a different cast. Like it's not going to be like no Jennifer Lawrence, like no Josh Hutchins.
I know.
I'm like, y'all, but I'm still excited and like the trailer, it looks so good. So
So good.
I want to read the book before it comes out because we're probably going to go see this movie on opening night. My whole family is excited for it.
That's gonna be so fun. I need to go see that too. Oh my gosh. Okay. My final TBR is a book called Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. So this book, this is a little bit more different. This kind of goes along with like Tituba, Black Witch of Salem. This is like obviously about like some witches. They all actually, I think they live in Salem. So, we kind of have a trend going on. Fall in New England. Come on, guys. But basically, yeah, they're living in like a little house and there's like a curse on the family. And it's kind of like a thriller, but it's also very just like, it's a comforting book. It's a comforting book to read for me, like especially when I'm like when I'm like sick or I reread it multiple times because it's so good, and it's a little bit suspenseful, but it's like in a good way. Like it's nothing too much, but it just has that like classic witchy like October, that whole thing. It's witches. That's when I
I
think
love
of
that,
fall, I
like
think of
that
witches.
energy. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. And another thing also, this book is super good. There's a couple of plot twists, which are, always good. We're living for those plot twists. Another thing, too, because I love the witchy book trope. Like, I just think it's great. And there's, again, it has this, like, comfort to it. Like, I just think of, like, October, and I think of, like, drinking some apple cider. It's just great. And another thing, I don't know if everybody listening to this has already read it, but Harry Potter books, guys. Just, even if you've already read the whole series, just those Harry Potter books, whip them out during the fall and the winter. Because it's just, like, do you agree, Moanna? Like, the comfort
Yes.
of reading those Harry Potter books.
Because they're so nostalgic.
They're so nostalgic, and, like, think about it, you're, like, living in a castle, and it's just, like, it's just great. It's just such a nice, every time the fall and the winter rolls around, I have to whip them back out. Even if it's just one book.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I'm such a
They're
big
so
Harry
good.
Potter.
I think we read those. I'm trying to remember the first time I started. I think we started reading Harry Potter when I was in like the 5th grade.
Oh my god.
My mom and brother and I read them together like at night.
Oh.
Because my brother's 4 years younger than me, so like he was still little, but he loves them too. And we ended up like going to Harry Potter World and stuff when we finished them. But my family, we have an ongoing argument. This argument has been going on probably for 5 years.
Ooh.
And
Let me hear it.
it's about whether or not Harry Potter is a Christmas movie or not.
Oh my gosh, that's the same thing with Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
That Tim Burton movie. I so agree with that. I don't know. Yeah, it could be either. Like, I feel like
I
there's a lot
am
of
like
it.
solid. It is not a Christmas movie. If anything, it is they're fall movies.
I
Like,
think I agree.
I think, see, for me, it's like Christmas movies are good, but they're also like most Christmas movies are dumb. And
Yeah.
like that's why they're fun to watch. And Harry Potter does not deserve to be put in a category with all these
No.
dumb movies. It deserves to stay with the good movies for fall.
Yes, I agree. And it's like, and when you think about it, like, it's like witches and like magic. You don't think of Christmas when you do that. I mean, maybe like Christmas magic, but no. Like when you think of magic and you think of witches and brooms and cinnamon and all that, you know, all that good stuff, pumpkins, all that. You don't think of winter. You think of fall.
Exactly.
So
And
settled.
September, what is it, the 9th, I think, is like the day, like it's like Harry Potter Day, and they do like the King Cross Station thing.
Oh my
So
god.
like it's obviously like they're fall movies, guys.
It is. It's so yeah. It's. I agree with you 100%. What's your Hogwarts house?
I'm a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. I'm a Ravenclaw.
My whole family is Ravenclaws except for me.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
we need more Hufflepuffs in the world. I hate how much hate Hufflepuffs get.
For real.
It's you guys don't deserve all that. You guys
I
Hufflepuffs are
know.
great. My sister's a Hufflepuff. So is my mom, and I love them.
Yeah, my whole family is Ravenclaws except for me. I'm the lone Hufflepuff, but I'm okay with it. I like being a Hufflepuff.
We love the Hufflepuffs.
And then we have a big announcement for a project that we've been working on together. We're starting a book club together. I have kind of teased that like I've been working on like something a little bit in like past episodes.
Yes.
So I'm excited to announce that we are starting the M&M book club. And yeah, I'm super excited. So we're gonna give you all the info for that. We named it M&M because Maren
and Moanna.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory.
M&M. We thought it was cute. So
we are welcoming all teen girls ages 15 to 19. Anywhere in the world, as long as like you can get access to English books, you can join. We're gonna do everything online, so doesn't matter what time zone you're in or where in the world you are. As long as you have access to the internet, you can join us. And I'm gonna let Maren announce our first book that we're gonna be doing.
Okay, guys, so the moment you've been waiting for, our first book is going to be Dead Poets Society. Yay!
I'm so excited.
It's going to be so fun. Such a great fall read. And then after we read it, I encourage all of you to watch the movie because it's very good. So yes, that'll be our first book. We'll read and discuss, and I'll let Moanna take the other details.
We're going to do meetings once a month, the first Wednesday of every month from 8 to 9. That's just like what works for both of us, and we know both of us should be able to make that date every single month because we want to try and keep it consistent. So if that works for your schedule, then we're really happy to have everyone. We're going to have everything done on Zoom. If you're interested in joining, I'm going to post all of the things. There will be links in the episode notes, and then I'll be posting on the podcast Instagram all the info, links to join. We're using a like book club organizing software, I guess. It's called, I think it's literally just called Book Club, isn't it?
Let me check. I don't have it right in front of me. But yes, it is a little app, and we're going to have all of the stuff. There's like a little chat option, so if you have anything that you need to say or anything you need to ask, me and Moanna are the administrators. If you have any recommendations, please leave those because those are so amazing. We want as much feedback as we can get. And I mean, also we want to encourage a lot, like what me and Moanna did. We want like people who are obviously, they love to read, and even if you like aren't that much of an avid reader, even if you just appreciate books or just want to have a place to like talk about it, I totally encourage you to join. It'll be super fun. And we'll just talk about different things that we find. It's not going to be super formal, nothing like, school. We will have a little bit of it, but it's nothing going to be too like formal, just very open and very, where everyone can voice their opinions on different parts of the book, and it's going to be super fun. So yes, I widely encourage it.
Hello, hello. The end of my recording session with Maren somehow evaporated into the internet world. I don't know where it went, but the last 5-ish minutes disappeared. But I just want to let everyone know that the link to join the book club is in the episode notes. Please, if you're interested, join. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram at themoannaadams podcast. Any and all questions, just DM me. I am always excited to answer all the messages that I get. And all of Maren's information is also in the episode notes. So, thank you for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to write a review, rate the podcast, give me 5 stars if you loved this episode, because it's super helpful. It's important for podcasts and their growth, so I would appreciate all the love, and thank you again for listening. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to give this podcast a rate and review, as well as follow me on all my socials linked in the show notes. Don't forget to drink some water, and I'll talk to you later.